All right, we're back with more Monday Night Wars for Week 19. This is the WWF side, January the 22nd, 1996. This was the 144th episode in Raw's history. It happened live on USA Networks from Stockton Civic Auditorium in Stockton, California. This was the night after the Royal Rumble where HBK eliminated Diesel with a super kick over the top rope to win his second consecutive Rumble. The ratings just last week for the Nitro side was a 3.5, a record to this point for either Raw or Nitro. So Nitro got a 3.5 last week, while the WWF only got a 2.4. This week it's changed up a bit. Nitro did win by 1.1, but this week Raw regains the lead as Raw draws a 2.9 to Nitro's 2.7. So a win by 0.2 for the WWF this week. So now after this week's win, the scoreboard for the WWF is 9 wins, 8 losses, and 2 draws in the 19 weeks of the Monday Night War thus far. So this draw, that drew a 2.9, was amongst the highest in history and was brought to you by Jerry Lawler and Vince McMahon. Vince opens up with a video package of the Rumble, and Sonny says Raw contains action of a graphic nature. Viewer discretion is advised, so they're getting a little edgier with Goldust and Sonny, Marlena. They open up with the debut of Vader on Raw with Jim Cornette versus Savio Vega. Vader's first Raw debut and his very first singles match in the WWF. Vega comes in dancing. Cornette grabs the mic and says, "It's time, it's Vader time." As Vader didn't have that part of his entrance theme in yet. It just had the that part. It didn't have the it's time. So Cornette did it. That might have been where they got the idea from, Cornette saying that on the microphone. Savio Vega lost a couple of his last appearances on Raw, and he's obviously going to lose this one. Savio Vega, it's Vader's debut in the ring for a singles match. Vader headbutted Savio Vega to the outside and then across the steel rail. Vader throws Savio Vega in the ring and delivers more clubbing blows. Vader squashed him in the corner, went up top for a Vader bomb, and wins at 3 minutes. Vader then headbutted Jim Cornette, the referee, and another official is powerbombed. Gorilla Monsoon comes to the ring, and that's the president of the WWF, and Vader is suspended, Monsoon says, for what he did to the officials. Monsoon then gets attacked by Vader, and Cornette tells him, "You can't do that, let me handle it." Monsoon chops Vader back twice or 2 or 3 times. Decent chops, too, from Gorilla Monsoon. Vader, at his age, I know Gorilla was a wrestler, but at his age, Vader pushed Cornette back and did a bear hug on Cornette into the corner, and Cornette went down and had to be taken off on a stretcher. Vader attacked then the president. Shawn and Razor Ramon came to the ring. The girls scream in attendance for Shawn and Razor running out and protecting the president of the WWF. I gave the match a star and a quarter. The replay of Gorilla Monsoon being attacked by Vader, which was big at the time. They have a sign that says WCW sucks in clear view. I wonder how much that fan got paid to be a plant there with the sign. Vader declared war on the WWF, and even you too, Mr. McMahon, he says on the microphone. Next up, we have Hunter Hearst Helmsley versus Razor Ramon. So it's no jobbers on this Raw. It's Savio Vega versus Vader. Neither of them are jobbers, even though Savio Vega has been losing a lot lately. And Hunter Hearst Helmsley versus Razor Ramon. So Raw is picking it up with good established character versus an established character. It's not just jobber matches anymore because they have to compete with Nitro. That's why they're doing all these billionaire Ted skits. Hunter Hearst Helmsley because McMahon's feeling the heat, especially after last week with Nitro getting a 3.5. Hunter Hearst Helmsley versus Razor Ramon. Hunter Hearst Helmsley is a real-life friend of Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, as we all know. I forgot that they ever met in the ring. They show how Goldust beat him the night before, Razor, and how Marlena made her debut. Razor gives a hard right to Helmsley, who grabbed his arm, torqued it, arm wringer for Helmsley. Then he hits his hands in the corner lefts and rights, come back to Ramon, who hits an atomic drop, and then a crossbody attempt misses Helmsley as they go to a commercial. A baseball slide from Razor Ramon's into the rib area. Another spine buster there by Ramon to Helmsley. Sends Helmsley into the corner and then a drop kick. Hunter Hearst Helmsley argues with the official, but the 1-2-3 kid fed Ramon a baby bottle while Ramon was down on the canvas floor. Razor distracted, and Hunter Hearst Razor threw. He was down on the canvas floor because Triple H got a cheap shot on him. And 1-2-3 kid fed him a baby bottle on the outside while Razor's head was by the apron. Razor distracted Hunter, and Razor throws out rights to each other. Ramon went after the kid and chased him around the ring. Triple H wins by countout at 8:01. So Hunter Hearst Helmsley stays undefeated in the WWF, while Razor loses at the Rumble and loses here tonight by countout, thanks to the 1-2-3 Kid in both occasions. Gave that match 2 stars. Razor then hits the Razor's Edge almost, but Triple H and one of his valets saved him to Triple H. And Shay was the name of his valet. They tried to get her over, but I guess the name didn't stick, or she didn't stick, because I don't believe we see her again. But he goes through many valets. Some segments with the Billionaire Ted's Wrestling Room with the Nacho Man and the Huckster. Then there's a featured in-ring interview with Shawn Michaels conducted by Vince McMahon, in which Jim Cornette interrupted, saying the only reason Owen Hart would get into the ring is if Michaels put up his WrestleMania title shot on the line. So Shawn accepted and said, Jim Cornette, he's worked 11 years to get to WrestleMania, and he's not going to give this up for anything, so he will meet Owen Hart at In Your House, Rage in the Cage in February with the WrestleMania title shot on the line. Next up, we got the WWF champion Bret Hart, who injured his knee the night before in his defense against The Undertaker, taking on Goldust with Marlena in a non-title match. Both titles not on the line because Goldust is the Intercontinental Champion now. So both titles aren't on the line. Marlena with her Raw debut. Non-title match is Goldust again as the IC champion. One night after Bret worked in methodical style versus The Undertaker. And now he's got to adapt to a match with the Golden One. He adapted with a match with The Undertaker. He adapts to his match with Diesel, the Bulldog, whoever his opponent is. Bret tells a different story. Goldust shoved in the corner, and the Hitman receives some hard body shots. Goldust with an armbar, and then a hammerlock laying beside him, playing mind games. Bret uses his weight to send Goldust through the ropes as he does a little run around into the ring, and that the weight elevates Goldust to fly through the middle rope to the outside. They go to a commercial, they come back, and Goldust has been on top of Bret during the break, most of it, as Vince says. Bret fights back with a series of rights, and Goldust's head on the top rope, and Bret then gets a sidewalk slam. Goldust walks to the back with Marlena. He's had enough, but Razor Ramon meets him at the Raw stage and gives him a couple shots while throwing Goldust back into the ring. Bret comes back with a high clothesline. 2 commercials in this match hurt the quality, but Bret hits a side Russian leg sweep, and if the bad knee goes for the sharpshooter, and Goldust taps out. Goldust loves this basic match that would have been better without the 2 commercials. So he loses this match. 2 stars and a quarter I gave it. Bret talks about the cage match in the ring with Vince McMahon on the mic afterwards in February inside the ring. He says he's the best in the cage. King talks about how Yokozuna and Shawn Michaels will face off next week. An exclusive press conference with Billionaire Ted next week as well. So that should be interesting what they do with the Billionaire Ted skits next week. So they're going to move on from just the Nacho Man and Huckster making jokes about them. They're going to actually have a press conference to see why he's trying to put the WWF out of business. So in the end, this episode drew a 2.9 to Nitro's 2.7. Raw actually got back in the win column after that big loss last week of 3.5 to 2.4. Nitro and Raw would start to battle it out even more in the next coming weeks. It would be closer and closer. This episode is a 7 out of 10 because it had a decent Shawn promo, a Bret promo, a Bret match, Goldust and Marlena's debut together as a tandem, Vader's debut, getting suspended, attacking Monsoon, along with Helmsley vs. Ramon, with the 1-2-3 Kid there. So it was a stacked Raw compared to other ones at the time for a 1-hour Raw. So again, TV ratings-wise, this was a 2.9, and it beat Nitro to 2.7 for Nitro. So it beat it by 0.2 in the ratings. Good comeback, and a 7 out of 10 quality-wise. It was an important Raw for Vader's attack on Gorilla Monsoon, which is one of the most classic moments in Raw history. So the scoreboard after 19 weeks, including the 19th week, this is for Raw, is 9 wins for Raw, 8 wins for Nitro, and 2 draws. So their 9, 8, and 2 is WWF. Hit like and subscribe if you like these reviews, if you want to stay a part of my channel and follow the Monday Night Wars, or if you just like sticking up to today's current product, which I do as well. I'd appreciate it if you consider subscribing. I'm Bret Mix, and we'll see you on the next Raw review, and we'll see you in Week 20 of the Monday Night Wars. I'm out.